Et voilà, il est 18 heures en ce mardi. Un grand bonsoir à toutes et tous. It's 6 p.m. in France. Good evening, everybody, and welcome for an exceptional moment as I'm going to connect now with Fernando Alonso. Bonsoir dans tous les cas à toutes et tous et merci d'être au rendez-vous. Je vais juste attendre un instant que Fernando Alonso se connecte pour pouvoir justement l'inviter à nous rejoindre. Once again, good evening, everybody. It's a great pleasure to be with you. Waiting the connection with Fernando Alonso. I think Fernando Alonso official. I click on add, ajouter. Je pense que on va retrouver Fernando Alonso. On va passer un moment absolument génial. Voilà, la connexion est en cours. On va au moins passer pour une bonne demi-heure. J'ai pas mal de choses à vous dire. Voilà. Good evening, Fernando.
Good evening.
Bonsoir.
How are you?
Good to be with you. Fine, and you? Good. Each time we always have, to have 50-50 French and English. I'm only, Fernando, going to say a few words in French to say that exceptionally tonight we are going to speak more English than French. Voilà,
Merci.
un tout petit mot ensemble pour effectivement dire que en temps normal, les amis, on essaye toujours d'avoir 50-50 français-anglais, même si je sais que Fernando speaks French very well. On va voir une démonstration tout de suite. Alors, on va peut-être ce soir parler un tout petit peu plus anglais. Mais dans tous les cas, vous écrivez vos questions. Dites-nous où vous êtes en France. So, as I was just saying before, in normal time, we try to speak 50-50 French and English. But of course, tonight with Fernando, we are going to speak more English than French. Except for I should say, the first question. I see it in French, Fernando. Comment ça va?
Ça va bien. Je pense que c'est un moment difficile pour tout le monde.
Bien sûr.
Je pense que le motorsport, c'est notre vie. C'est très important pour nous. Mais maintenant, c'est pas la chose plus importante. Maintenant, c'est le virus, c'est la gens qui doit travailler, la gens qui est dans le pédale. Je pense que nous avons beaucoup de problèmes maintenant. Et donc, le motorsport, c'est notre vie, mais c'est un peu plus pour le futur.
I can see the figure. We've got many fans tonight, which is great. Welcome once again. If you have a question to Fernando Alonso, please write it now. My first question was, how are you, Fernando?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
And obviously, as I said now in French, I think the most important right now is the health. And, you know, there are so many people now in the hospital, so many people with the worry of the uncertainty as well, what is going to happen in the next months, your job, your future plans, there are things that are in the air right now. So even if motorsport is our life and our passion, I think right now is second priority with all the problems that we are facing.
Of course. How did you spend your lockdown? This is one of the questions.
Look, not very exciting. I think everyone is in the same situation. So,
I think, yeah.
Yes, I'm in Switzerland. I'm at home, and trying to spend the time in the best way I can. I try to do a little bit of a sport every day. I'm very lucky that I have a running machine in the garage, so I can run a little bit or walk every day. And try to watch a lot of movies, a lot of series, and try to cook or whatever. Try to spend time in things that maybe you don't have time during the season, and now you have plenty of time to do things at home. So you discover many things.
What could you discover?
Well, you discover that there are things at home that you should take care much before, when they were in good condition. There is always little repairs to do here or there. I have a small garden that obviously now in spring everything is growing so quickly, so you need to take care of few things that when you are constantly traveling between races, you tend to forget all these things.
As I said for the introduction, many questions, which is logical, Fernando, about Le Mans, about Formula One, about the Dakar, about the future, of course. The first question, can we see you in a hypercar class in Le Mans again?
Yes, I would say yes. I think the HyperCar is a nice project, together with different solutions that I know that the Endurance Championship is going through a good process now, also with IMSA. And, there are a lot of things in the future that will probably boost a little bit endurance, and I want to be part of that. So I don't know when, but, obviously my experience with Le Mans is at the moment 100% love, because two participation, two wins, and I want to try the third for sure. So let's see when.
It's one of the questions I wanted to ask you, and I ask it even if you've just said 2 times Le Mans, 2 times winner. I think that in the Le Mans history, this is absolutely unique. Great.
Yes, I think it was a unique because the super season was unique. It was the first time that 2 Le Mans were inside a championship, and that was magical. And for me, it was a privilege to be in the WEC season, to drive for Toyota, which was a phenomenal car, a phenomenal team, great teammates, good atmosphere, and discover the endurance racing in that package. I think it was much better than what I was expecting. And for Le Mans, it was the same thing. I knew Le Mans before. I was doing the starting flag in 2014, and I always wanted to race in Le Mans. But my experience with Toyota and with the 2 wins exceed any expectations that I had, from Le Mans. And the night, all the fans. I think the 24-hour, even if it seems a long race, when you have the adrenaline, when you have the passion and the atmosphere that you have in Le Mans, it's even a short race. You will like to compete even longer. When arrive the last couple of hours, you see how, we complete already 22 hours, when these 22 hours were. So it was a fantastic experience.
A question which is often asked and which is asked once again tonight. What about the main differences between Formula One and an LMP1 car, especially as a Toyota TS050?
I think driving aspects are very different. Formula One is all about performance, and try to repeat that perfect performance, let's say, lap after lap. With the Toyota and with endurance races, I think you have to balance reliability with performance. You need to have a car that lasts for not 24 hours, maybe for 40 hours, to make sure that the 24 hours you are in a safe range. And so that's different in the terms you drive the car. You don't push the car to the real limits on the curbs, on the braking points. You have traffic every lap, so every lap is different. It's not like in Formula One that you repeat always the same mechanisms and the same automatisms. In Le Mans or in an endurance race, you need to be very creative, because every lap you need to follow your instinct, and there are cars always that you need to lap in different places at different speeds, and you need to time very well this. And let's say on the pure performance, that probably is what the people is more interested. I think the Toyota has better traction and more acceleration, because
really?
You have 1,000 horsepower with a hybrid technology, and you have 4-wheel drive. So there is no problem with the traction. So at the exit of a slow speed corner, you have that amount of power, that traction with the Michelin tires that produce a very high grip. And I think you feel it in the body that the Toyota has more acceleration. Then the Formula One is much lighter. So in the corners or in the braking points, definitely the Formula One is more extreme.
Okay, among the fans, I can read Yannick Dalmas, a 4 times Le Mans winner, is here. A question from Maverick. Fernando, back to Formula One in 2021. Possible or not?
Look, it's something that I've been answering from 2018. When I did my last race in Abu Dhabi, we announced that I was not in the grid in 2019 because I wanted to experience something else, like the World Endurance Championship, Le Mans, Daytona, maybe Dakar one day. That it happened this year, and I wanted to go out a little bit of Formula One, because after 18 years of that routine and that pressure in your shoulders. I needed to breathe a little bit out of that environment. And I always said, look, in the 2021, there are new rules in Formula One. I may come because maybe there is more interest and the cars are more balanced, and maybe I'm hungry of traveling again or putting myself in contention. It's true that Formula One now delayed the rules for 2022. So that's let's say a bad news in a way for the sport, because I think they need to balance the cars and they need these new rules as soon as possible. But it's a choice that is understandable, because with the current situation, it was not possible to develop the cars for next year, 2021. So in my personal case, I know more or less what I'm doing next year, and hopefully many of you will know very soon. I cannot say more. I cannot say more.
Okay. Another good question from Mark. He says, "Up to see you at Indy 500." And it is a good question, because I think for you the aim is to be the second driver to win Le Mans, to be Formula One World Champion, and of course to win Indianapolis. Only Graham Hill achieved that, and the aim for you was to be the second driver to be successful in this way.
Yeah, obviously it's a challenging target, and it's something that not many people did in the history, as you said, only one man before. And it's like completing the biggest races in the world: Formula One, the Indy 500, the Le Mans 24-hour. And obviously, if I add to this, that I started all my life in karting, I was doing Dakar this year. It's like driving anything that motorsport can offer you at the highest talent, not small races, the highest talent against the best drivers in those categories, with the specialists on oval, the specialists on endurance, or the specialists in Formula One, and try to be competitive in all of three, which is a very big challenge, because all of them require a very different driving technique and different driving styles. So the Indy 500 I tried in 2017. It was a very nice experience. I love the atmosphere there. I think Le Mans 24-hour and Indy 500 are the two very special events in motorsport. You feel it. You know that you are not in a normal race. The whole thing is bigger than normal, and the passion and the tradition behind. There are always great traditions on those races, like in the Le Mans, the parade lap in the middle of the town, the trophy that goes on the grid before the starting. There are things that they've been repeating for many years, and they are part of motorsport. And same in Indy, the famous ladies and gentlemen, start your engines. It's coming from there. And when you are there and you hear that, there are few things that make those races special, and try to be competitive and hopefully win one day those races is magic.
Let's talk of something else but motorsport. Tony Pap, the question is, which series do you watch? I think on television, of course.
Look, Casa de Papel, I don't know how you call it. It's the money heist or something like that. I don't know, the one that robbed a bank. Then I watch recently. Now I'm watching the Jordan, The Last Dance, from Michael Jordan, and normally more movies, because I know that I start the movie, I finish the movie that day, and then I follow another one, because the series depends how many episodes every stage has. It can be for many months, and normally I don't have many months in my life free to watch anything, so I try to program short term only.
Buddy Williams says, Grande mille Fernando. Let's talk about the Dakar. Is it a good memory for you, this first Dakar in your career?
Yes, it was a nice experience. I love the spirit of the race. I think I share many moments with different drivers, mechanics, journalists, because we are all there in the middle of the desert, and we are not with any luxury behind. You know, there are no hotels, there are not
Yeah.
bathrooms, there are not many things that you are used to in a normal race situation. And we are all the same. There is no difference between a driver, a journalist, a mechanic, or a cleaner. So, you know, I think it was 3 weeks of pure experience, and also survival experience, because in Dakar you start day and you have maybe 700, 800 kilometers in front of you of the unknown. There are no indications of what you will find. The co-driver only knows how to get from, let's say, point A to B,
Yeah.
but there is no information of what you will find in the middle. And I think that's something that it wakes you up in the more human side of the sport, you know, and you need to repair the car, you need to be alert for many things, you need to help other competitors, because one day you help someone, the next day someone will help you. You know, it's not that you cannot be selfish in a race that is so long and in the middle of nothing. And there is the danger side of it as well, you know, that obviously we don't want to be in a dangerous race, but it's part of the adrenaline as well. And in Dakar, there is no fire extinguisher. There is not a marshal close to you. If something happened, there is nothing. You know, it's only you and your competitors that become your friends. You know, in a race like that. So, you know, it was a nice experience, not only on the professional side, as I said, on the human side. And you know, hopefully I come back one day also to Dakar in the future. I think I have more years to do Dakar. We saw Carlos this year winning Dakar with 57 years old. So I think Dakar gives you that possibility, and hopefully coming back to be more competitive and try to win as well that one.
Fernando, you say you've got to repair your car. I had a question. Do you ever repair your own car? I don't know who is at the origin of this question, but that is a question. Do you ever repair your own car?
Yes. Sometimes you know, you have to. If it's easy enough to do it. You know, I'm used to have the best mechanics, you know, in Formula One or in Toyota in the endurance, and they do whatever thing, you know, and they have all the tools. When you are on your own and you need to repair your car at home, or you have a puncture in the highway, or you have something, of course you need to do it. But if you have bigger problems than that, and the engine stop or whatever, I don't know how to repair it. You know, I take the phone and I call the guy.
Okay. Many pleasant messages, as you can imagine. Rosabella says, you're a great driver, the best driver in the world. Question from Marie. She says, Daytona night or Le Mans night? What do you prefer?
I think I prefer Le Mans. Also because it's shorter. It's in June, the race, and in Le Mans you have, I don't know, 7 hours of night time. So it's quite intense. And I think on those long straights, going to Mulsanne, or, you know, you are, let's say, alone there. There is no lights, artificial lights from the circuit. So it's quite, only the illumination you have is from your own lights from the car. And that, I think, is something different compared to Daytona, that you are inside always the oval, and it's quite well illuminated. So you don't feel the night that extreme in Daytona. And in Daytona, you have 12 hours of night because it's in January. So the nights are very long. And Daytona is like night being the normal time of driving. And I think that is less intense than Le Mans, that I think the speed plus the low illumination, I think elevates the night of Le Mans.
Yeah, as you can see with my faces and my eyes, I'm watching your questions, so many fans from lots of country, which is totally incredible. You could travel all over the world, I think, Fernando. Do you have any, I should say, favorite country, even if all the countries, of course, have their positive aspect, but is there one country that you love especially, except yours, except Spain?
I was ready to answer Spain, but look, from all the countries that I travel on my career, I think the one that impressed me more was Japan. all the time. I
Okay.
don't know why. The Japanese people, they are very polite. They are very nice with us when we got there, and I think they have some values that probably in our days we don't see that often. As I said, they are very polite. They have a lot of discipline in the things they do. They commit, until the last moment to whatever idea they have. They are very loyal. For instance, I think talking to some of the mechanics from Toyota last year, they said that from the university they choose more or less which company they will work. And from the university, most of our mechanics in Toyota, they wanted to work for Toyota, and they will work for Toyota for life. There is no change, and we were saying, yes, but if, I don't know, Suzuki or Honda or, Subaru, they make you an offer, you will consider or you will not consider. And they were saying, no, we will never consider. There is a choice that we make for our life and for our family, and that loyalty that they put in the company, also the company put on them. And I was thinking that will be impossible in probably in our countries. If you work in a company and there is any better possibility or they offer a better possibility somewhere else, at least you consider. Maybe you stay because you love your job, but at least you consider. While for them they are very strict on that, and I like that kind of thing.
21 Ahmed, his question is, could you participate in the whole IndyCar championship, Fernando?
I don't think so. I think that was something that I considered maybe 2 years ago. When I stopped Formula One, I was thinking what to do next. And obviously winning the WEC championship and being World Endurance Championship, Formula One World Championship, what if one day I'm IndyCar champion? Not only the 500, try to win the championship in general. That will be unique. That will not be the second man in history. That will be the first man in history, and that always very appealing. But I don't think so, because the commitment to do that will be too high at this part of my life. I think a few years ago maybe that was a possibility, but right now to do 16 or 17 races, to know all the circuits, because they race in Laguna Seca, they race in Mid-Ohio, they race in Long Beach. There are circuits that they know very well for many years. I don't know. And I will have, or I will require a level of preparation and commitment that maybe at this time in life, I'm not happy to take. The Indy 500 is already a nice commitment and a long preparation for one race. So I cannot imagine for the whole championship. That will be full dedication. And also there are 6 ovals or 5 ovals that, you need to respect the ovals. I think the Indy 500 is already a risk in a way, because the speeds are very high, and you take that risk because the reward is very high. But to do the other ovals as well is always a concern for myself.
Question from Berrios. Have you ever tried, or would you accept to try a MotoGP bike? The one from Valentino Rossi, or of course Marc Marquez.
Yes, I tried. I tried in 2 times, in 2015 and 2016. Two times in Motegi in Japan. There was at the end of the year the Honda event with all the Honda drivers, and at that time we were with McLaren with the engine Honda, and Marquez and Pedrosa, they were with the Repsol Honda, and we meet there with many Japanese drivers as well, that they were racing in different series with Honda, and we swapped cars, and Marquez was driving the DTM, the Super GT cars, and I was driving the MotoGP the two times. And in 2016, the second time that I jumped in, I tried to push a little bit more and enjoy a little bit more the ride. But look, the motorbike is so fast and so scary. I remember the first time I tried, that Mark was with me. Mark Marquez was with me, teaching me the lines, etc. And he was wheeling, he was doing all the tricks, and I was so slow. But at one point in the straight, I was inside the motorbike, and at the end of the straight, I put the head up.
Yeah.
And the air that came to me, it pushed me back, and I nearly fall in the middle of the straight. And I didn't try anymore to go inside the back. I was doing some tourist from that moment on.
I said Valentino Rossi before because I remember he said last year at Le Mans for the French round of the MotoGP World Championship, I want to race at least the 24 hours of Le Mans once in my life. Imagine your phone is ringing, that's Valentino Rossi, and he says, well, Fernando, do you have any piece of advice to me? What would you say to Valentino for his first Le Mans experience?
I think, obviously, I will say go. For sure, you need to try. There is a experience for the rest of your life, and there is something that if you have the opportunity, it's a race that you have to go one day. And then second, to prepare the race properly. I think it's not anymore probably a race of pure endurance and try to do your job, your stint, and go pass the car to your teammate. I think Le Mans is so professional now. It's so competitive. It's not anymore, long race. It's every 10 minutes count, every stint count. There is no moment of relaxation. And I think you need to prepare well enough the race. You need to study well enough the race. You need to work with your engineers. You need to work about your mental strength, because there will be a couple of hours in the race that you will feel low. And you cannot accept that, because you need to be always 100%. You need to take care about your food routine, about your rest routine. So, even if it's a race that your heart is telling you to do it, to experience the 24 hour and to enjoy, yes, but with some professionalism, because the race is very, very competitive.
That is true. Another question, what do you like in endurance, which does not exist in Formula One?
Very clear. The teammate atmosphere.
Okay.
That's probably, the biggest difference in terms of relationships outside the car and the feeling you get. In Formula One, everything is so tense and everything is so, extreme, that it doesn't give you the opportunity to enjoy the moments, or to share out of the car with your teammates, that normally you hide the things that they go well, because you want to keep it for you, like that's happening in Formula One. But in endurance, you share everything. If you go through a corner, you touch the curb, and you feel that there is more grip, you go out of the car and you tell your two teammates that they need to take that curve because there is more grip. That's fantastic. And I was not used to feel that and to receive the same messages from them, because obviously Sebastian and Kazuki, they have a lot of experience in endurance.
Yeah.
So they teach me a lot, from the Toyota and at the beginning, and they help me a lot to improve my performance quickly, because if the team works better, it's your own benefit as well. And yeah, that's the big difference between Formula One and endurance, and the thing that I like most, from that atmosphere.
Question about your souvenirs. Who is or who was your racing hero when you were a kid, for example?
Normally, I used to follow Senna all the time.
Okay.
So, but it's funny, because in Spain they were not television, they were not broadcasting the races at that time, the Formula One. So I don't know why I have these pictures of Senna in my room, or in my on my books from the school. Always Senna was there. It was the McLaren, the Marlboro McLaren, and with this yellow helmet on it.
Yeah.
But I didn't know why I was following him, or I was admiring him, because, as I said, I was not watching the races live, or I was not aware of his success. It was like the combination of that car, that helmet, and probably the inspiration from my parents as well, or my father, because my father loves Formula One, and
Hmm.
he was building a small go-kart for me when I was a kid. That go-kart was with McLaren colors, like Senna had. So
Hmm.
maybe that was coming into my mind, and that for that reason was my idol. But yeah, when I was more aware of things, when I was 12 or 13, probably my idol was Carlos Sainz's father,
Hmm.
because
Okay.
in Spain he was winning
The
the
king. Yeah.
World Rally Championship and things like
Hmm.
that. But it was a contradiction because I didn't want to drive rally. I wanted to drive in the circuit in a go-kart. So even Carlos was yes, my idol, but not maybe on the driving aspects, because the rally was a different discipline.
I think many people appreciate the fact that you answered Senna. I can read many times Senna, many hearts. One question about now your favorite lap that you have driven in a race car. Do you remember a lap one day, whatever was the car, the racetrack, which is of course a good memory for you?
That's a very interesting question. I would need probably time to think. I'm sure there is a lap that you are proud of and everything was
Uh-huh.
perfect and the adrenaline was super high. Probably on a street circuit like Monaco or
Hmm.
Singapore, there are those laps that you need to be very, very close to the wall and there is only one chance you are in qualifying. I remember Singapore 2010, we were on pole position and we won the race also the following day. So when that happened for 6 or 7 milliseconds, that adrenaline was fantastic. I remember also in endurance the Sebring lap at night. That was the record of the circuit as well.
Hmm.
So there is always, laps that you feel proud of, and everything
Yeah.
was coming together perfectly. The car was feeling fantastic. The new tires they give you grip, and you were pushing, and the car was answering, and that's the best feeling for a driver. When you are driving at your maximum and sometimes over the maximum and the car
Okay.
is taking care of any mistake that you may do or any extra
Mhm.
push and the car is still performing well. That's a satisfaction, own satisfaction that is difficult to explain.
Okay, I look the watch. It's 6:42. We've got a few minutes again with you,
Yes.
Fernando. Okay, many questions, as you can imagine. Thierry in France, he says, "Are you proud to know that you are I should say, the single driver, the only one to have your name of two boards of the famous Hall of Fame? At the main entrance of the FIA, as you've been Formula One World Champion and WEC, so Endurance World Champion."
Yeah, yes, I know. This last December, I was in
Yeah.
Paris for the Hall of Fame of the endurance racing, and yeah, someone told me that I was the only driver on the FIA to be on
Mhm.
the two Hall of Fame, the F1 and the
Yes,
endurance. So,
it's
look,
exceptional.
yeah, yes, it's something that is nice to have. But right now, because I still active and I still competing, maybe you are not aware of many things that you are achieving, or if in these places your name is here or there. Maybe one day from now, 5, 10 years time or whatever, you maybe enjoy more all these things and all this recognition. Right now, you
Mhm.
are just thinking on the next month or in the next race.
Okay, wait and see. Serious questions about especially the Le Mans 24 race. What do you think of the creation of an hyper pole position? What do you think, of the qualifying system before and the fact to select the six quickest car for the four categories and then to propose them an hyper pole session?
Look, probably it is a little bit easier for the teams and the drivers to perform a lap like that because you reduce the number of cars on track, and that give you the possibility to have a traffic-free lap, and that is more pure performance. I think as long as the spectator is happy, as long as the show is good enough for the fans, I think the qualification of Le Mans is okay, because even if it's a nice part of the race, it's not crucial. Any
Mhm.
24-hour race qualifying means not much. So I think the format of the qualifying, it has to be something interested and something as a show for the fans more than a pure performance for the teams, because it mean less than a normal race.
Okay, so many questions. Again, the most difficult for me is to select one. Well, who was your best teammate? They were all fabulous.
The one that I had more fun with was Fisichella, because 2005-6 also we won the championship with Renault, and the atmosphere in the team was great. He's a nice person. I love Italy. I love the Italians. They are very similar to the Spanish, and we get very, very well together in those seasons. And also because we were winning races and championship, obviously everything is much better. But Fisi, I mean, all of them, they were great. Button in McLaren at the end, Jarno, and obviously, as I said before, because the endurance racing is very different, and you share everything with your teammates. Sebastian, Kazuki, Mike, Jose, Kamui, they were unbelievable, and we had so much fun, in the WEC season, and we were always playing together on the PlayStation, on the driver's room. We were traveling with Jose, portable PlayStation in a bag to every race. So we were playing in Japan, in China, whatever. We were having dinner always together, lunch always together, traveling together. So, even if it's different time and different category, amazing teammates always.
Okay, as I said, serious questions. I'm sure that Pierre Fillon, the ACO president, I think of Gérard Neveu too, watching this live. Any message for them? And I should say, what do you think of the job with the hyperclass, the creation of the hypercar class, and then the H project too?
I think the H project is something that if it goes well, and the manufacturers, because we don't know with this situation how will develop the future, but that project will probably be a success if we can find commitment from manufacturers that can come from America, from Asia, obviously the European ones, private teams, customer cars. There are many possibilities there to create a field in the Le Mans 24 hour, in the Daytona 24 hour, a championship that could be mega. And I think that's something that I'm watching with interest, for the future, how it will develop, because right now it's only an idea. And with the hypercar, I think is definitely a step forward. There is something that right now, unfortunately, with the exit of Audi and Porsche a couple of years ago, the LMP1 was a little bit weak. So the hypercar hopefully will bring that adrenaline again to the top class. And as long as there are many cars on the grid, it doesn't matter if there are official teams or private teams, whatever, this kind of races, endurance races, always will provide action and will provide emotion until the last lap, because anything can happen in those kind of races, long races. So you need to have as many cars as possible. And that's what I wish that happened in the future.
Okay, about the future, another very serious question. I don't know if you've had the time to read the Jean Todt speech on the welcome page of the FIA website. He said that the COVID-19, after this pandemic, there will be enormous repercussions, that priorities in the world will change. And some people say that it's perhaps times to invent again motorsport or motor racing. Do you agree with them? Do we have to invent again the fantastic universe of motor racing?
I don't think so. I don't think that is needed, to reinvent many things. Definitely there are things that we need to take care more, and there are things that will change probably forever, and things that we saw in the past we will not see anymore, especially like Formula One. I think the world or the bubble of Formula One has to lower the expectations of everything, of the budgets, which they are doing with the budget, the cost cap and things like that. So there are things that will change probably forever. And I think on the top classes and on the top categories, I think they are good as they are. I think this COVID or this crisis, I think will change the smaller categories. I think there were too many diversity on those categories. There were 4 or 5 very similar categories in each country doing very similar things. I think they have to go in one because they cannot survive 4 or 5 at the same time. So I think we will need to work together, as a team, all motorsport, all the promoters, all the teams, drivers, sponsors. I think there is no time anymore to think individually, and there has to be some fusions, and some united final, sense of everything. So, hopefully the people that they are in care of those things, they will try to find the best solution for motorsport for the future, so sustainable motorsport for the future, and that will only come with united people, and not anymore, I think everyone trying to choose your own interest or try to persuade, this sponsor for my own race or that one for my own race. I think there is not anymore that kind of motorsport.
Okay, I can read many Magic Alonso, which is logical. I could read a message from Yannick Delmas. He says, "I would have loved to have Fernando Alonso as a teammate." Well, it's not too late, I should say.
Yes,
so,
yes,
Yannick, you know what to do. Another question: what is the best way to get into racing? And I think that's another way to ask the question: what's the best way to become a future Fernando Alonso?
Well, I think you need to have some passion for sure about the motorsport, which many kids they have. You need to start in an early age. This is a sport like any sport, but that you need to start at the age of, let's say, between 8 to 14, 16. I think if you start at the age of 20, you will struggle a little bit to get to the top. You can still racing and be competitive, but I think if you want to have your life as a driver, professional driver, I think earlier you start, better it will be. So that will require some passion from your parents as well. It's not only you, because you can say to your father that you want to go in a go-kart, but if your father doesn't want, that will not work. So you need the help from your family, and you need to have some talent. For sure, because in karting there are hundreds and hundreds, thousands of drivers, of kids, and the selection is always more and more difficult to get to the top and to become professional. And you need support from sponsors. You need support from your federation. You need to have the right championships in your country to develop, because there are many countries that they don't have good championships or affordable championships, only expensive championships. That is not the ideal to start with. So, there are many things that they need to combine. It's a very complex sport. It's not, I don't know, maybe if you play tennis and you have the talent, you take the racket, you start winning tournaments, and maybe you become professional. Motorsport is much more complex than that.
A few questions again, Fernando. About the Le Mans stints, do you prefer the day stint or the night stint?
I prefer the night. I don't know why.
Really?
I've been always feeling more comfortable at night. As I said, this feeling of being alone in the track with your own lights only, and on those long straights, that was a very good feeling. And I don't know, I've been always seems a little bit more competitive, happy with the car and things like that at night compared to the daytime. There is no clear reason for that as well, but it was like that. So the night was the moment that I normally enjoy more.
Okay, let's talk about something else but motor racing. Imagine we arrive at home, Fernando. Toc, toc, toc. Hello, Fernando. Here we are. What can you prepare for dinner tonight? Do you enjoy cooking?
I don't enjoy cooking, let's say. I cook. Of course, I do because I need to eat and I need to
Yeah.
survive, but not because my passion is to create new
Yeah.
things, So I cook very basic things, meat, fish, pasta, rice, salads, whatever is coming that day, but not because I love to create
Mhm.
something or I spend all afternoon thinking any new recipe for the night. I try to go for the simple things.
Okay. Could you be an actor? Imagine someone says, "Well, Fernando, I want you to play in my future movie." Could you be an actor?
I don't think so. I don't think that I have the talent to be an actor, to be honest. Even if I always joke with this with my manager because at the day of today I've been doing 53 video shooting for TV commercial,
Okay.
53 in
Really?
my career.
Okay.
So those 53 require sometimes some action and some acting and things that I was improving with time. The first TV commercial I did was in 2003 with
Okay.
Renault for the
Uh-huh.
Renault Megane in the Spanish TV. And
Uh-huh.
if I look back to that one, obviously I think I'm a better actor now than I was then, but still long way to go. And to have all those people to repeat so many things, the same acting because they want to change the camera, they want to change the light, they want to change uh,
Mm.
your eyes, how you look to the other competitor. Always these kind of things. I fell out of my environment, so I don't think that I'm a future
When
actor.
you talk about Renault, to be honest, I always think of someone. Remember, of course, Christian Konzen. I remember a
Yes.
few months before the beginning of your first Formula One complete season, he said, "Well, look at this young boy. He is going to be a great champion." He was right.
Yes, I remember him. He was yeah, our boss for the
Mm?
Renault Sport department in the first years, in the 2003 and the beginning of 2004, and he was supporting always the team. And yeah, he knew a lot of very interesting things. His knowledge about
Mm.
technology, about the engine. He was creating this wide V engine from Renault in 2003. So he was, yeah, very creative, and that's something very important on a designer, on a chief designer to have always the mentality of something different, not always following the same path. So yeah, he was. I remember him, and I saw a picture of him the other day. He was, I think, launching of the car, the Renault 2004
Yeah.
or 2003, and it was Jarno, Trulli, myself, Flavio, and Christian together in the picture.
There was another interesting question, the last one, because we are going to have an interruption after 1 hour. Could you create the Fernando Alonso racing team for endurance? Why not?
Why not? I didn't thought about that at the moment. I have the Fernando Alonso team on eSports
Yeah.
and on the Formula Renault as well, the European Formula Renault. And many people were asking me if one day we'll be in a Formula One team, and I'm always saying 100% not, because
Mhm.
a Formula One team is something that will only create uh, concerns more than happiness, because the budgets are so high and you have so
Yeah.
many people and things like that. But endurance is true that maybe a GT team, like Patrick Dempsey or
Mm.
people that create a team, and it seems a little bit more under control because it's
Yeah.
less people. It's a car that you can buy from your factory team. There are more possibilities. So yeah, not planned in a short term, but who knows?
Okay. Fernando, where are you in Spain at the moment?
No, in Switzerland.
In
I'm in
Switzerland.
Switzerland. Yes.
Okay. Well, I think now we are going to introduce the checkout flag, as we say. But before that,
Okay.
as I can read, you've got the Kimoa cap. Remember that all the Kimoa collection is available at the boutique ACO, the ACO shop on the Le Mans racetrack. Of course, lemans.org. You will have the connection. It was, of course, very, very pleasant to spend this moment, to share this moment with you. I hope that you've enjoyed it too.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Always happy.
What can I say? En résumé, comme as we say in France, et tu as un petit mot en français. Donc, on te revoit aux 24 heures du Mans. Oui, forcément.
Oui.
Bon,
Les hypercars ou peut-être les futurs, la
LMDH.
nouvelle
Ouais.
catégorie, je pense que c'est une confirmation que je vais être allemand une autre fois, ou beaucoup de fois. Et j'avais gagné 2 fois en 2 participations et je vais de chercher la troisième.
Ouais, 100% de succès jusque-là, c'est absolument unique dans les annales, dans l'histoire des 24 heures du Mans. J'ai toujours l'impression qu'on oublie une question essentielle. Bon, on recommencera un autre live si tu veux bien, Fernando.
D'accord.
I say it in French, of course, this time. Mais au nom, encore une fois, de tous les fans des 24 heures du Mans, merci beaucoup pour tout ce que tu as apporté. Et puis, évidemment, on espère te retrouver très, très bientôt. I could read many times, Formula One, but là, ce soir, effectivement, on voulait aussi et surtout parler des 24 heures du Mans. Et puis, avec toi, Fernando, dire un grand merci, to say once
Merci.
again, thank you to all the staff, in the hospital working for our health, our security, which is of course very important.
Yes.
Merci encore, Fernando, et
Thank you.
puis à très bientôt avec beaucoup de plaisir. Merci encore.
Merci. See you soon.
Ciao, ciao.
À
Merci
bientôt.
les amis. À
Merci.
bientôt. Bye bye.
Ciao.
Merci. Voilà. Ciao. Et puis donc un grand merci à toutes et tous pour votre participation ce soir. Sincèrement, on a passé un très très grand moment. On a essayé de faire une sélection de vos questions, mais elles étaient toutes très très bonnes. On a passé un moment extrêmement privilégié. Donc on va surveiller l'actualité de Fernando Alonso pour les prochaines semaines. On a cru comprendre par rapport à son programme 2021. Et puis en profiter aussi pour vous remercier tous once again. Thank you to all of you for your messages. It was a great pleasure. See you very soon. Stay tuned. Look the news on lemans.org. Allez bien sûr sur le site lemans.org pour suivre toute cette actualité. Et puis on se dit encore une fois à très bientôt. Vous passez par la boutique ACO si vous voulez retrouver les articles de la collection officielle Fernando Alonso, la Kimoa Collection. Merci encore toutes et tous. Vous prenez bien soin de vous. Merci à Pierre Fillon. Merci à toute l'équipe communication aussi qui nous permet de passer ces moments ensemble et c'est vraiment génial. Merci encore. Vous prenez bien soin de vous, les amis. Check out flags this time. Take care and see you very soon with great pleasure. Bye bye.